is who else? Duke. Coach K taking on the Hogs, who unfortunately, sadness for Gonzaga as Arkansas and Pig Suey took care of them yesterday. They brought a little SEC basketball to the house, Brian. A little physicality, took them right out of their comfort zone. Can Arkansas do that to Duke as well?
They can if they play the way they did yesterday. But it's funny. I was going to the Golden Knights game, meeting up with Carmine and Brandon. Tokyo Brandon's in town, and Marco and all. And so we're going to the game. I'm sitting in the MGM Sportsbook watching these games before the Knights game, and Arkansas is pulling away from Gonzaga, and everybody in the sportsbook, you can usually tell who the guys are that you want to fade. This guy with the biggest mouth in the sportsbook, but they're over here. Oh, this Gonzaga teams are terrible. This whole thing, and he'll never be the number one draft choice. Look what happened here with that son. And I look at the shot quality metrics, and after the game, if they played the normal game that these two teams have done, Gonzaga wins by like 8 points. So don't take a look at what you just saw and assume that's going to repeat. Arkansas played a great game, no doubt about it. Gonzaga did not play well. But if these two teams were to meet 10 times, Gonzaga wins that 7, 8 times out of 10. So now you've got an Arkansas team against Duke. Duke's a veteran team, veteran coach. The whole thing about the coaches last year, and a lot of people rooting for him. I know Carlos Booster was on the show last week, and he played Duke to win it all. I believe he'll win $50,000 or something. I'm rooting for him. But I'm not rooting for Duke. I never root for Duke. I think it's a team that's overall has gotten every break in the book going back the last decade or two. They're not playing in front of their home crowd. They're playing out in San Francisco. I don't think that's an advantage to either one of these teams. But 4 seems a little cheap to me right now based on the way this game is looking. I'm rooting for Arkansas. I want Arkansas to win. But at this point, I don't think I have enough value to play them.
I'm listening to that broadcast last night, Tony. Finn. Every time Note took a ball and chucked up a 3 and barely hit the rim, they're screaming like, "What are you doing? Like, stop chucking up threes!" But it didn't end up hurting them, even though they can't hit threes. Nope. They're probably going to need to hit a few, though, against Duke here. So what do you think we get with the Blue Devils and the Razorbacks?
Well, this is my best bet for the show. Pardon me. If we're doing best bets, I think we are. I'll say this. If you think Arkansas can limit Duke the way they limited Gonzaga, 68 points in 77 possessions, I think. Listen, that if there's one thing, and I'll speak to it in the best bet segment, but if there's one thing that's different about this Duke team yesterday, their last game, that wasn't there in the regular season is how they're finishing games and how they seem to be, all season long, guys. I said that I thought this group of Duke players who I think all of us wouldn't be surprised if they had 5 first-round draft picks in the NBA draft, right? These 5 guys, first-round draft picks. How they seem to be just playing poorly or felt the pressure of that the farewell tour that he was on, et cetera, et cetera. Now, guess what the farewell tour? It's the farewell tour for all of them in the season, and they're playing pretty good. I'll talk more about it during the best bet segment.
Tony Mejia, I can't help but watching that second half last night from Duke reminded me a lot of those non-conference games they played early on, like against Gonzaga, where they have all the tools. They look like a Final Four team early on in the season. They look like it again in that second half last night. Question is, which team shows up, do you think, against the Razorbacks?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Duke look terrible against Virginia Tech very recently in that ACC tournament final. But this is one of those games where it is a team with 6 top 40 players in Duke against a team that has none in Arkansas. And I'm talking about recruiting rankings in terms of that, and just the fact that these guys are grinders at Arkansas. And what Eric Musselman's been able to do has been fantastic. Love that guy, and he's a tremendous coach and motivator, and he finds a way with, again, pieces that JD Notae started his career at Jacksonville. Stanley Amude was at South Dakota. Tony, who was tremendous last night as a defender, Pittsburgh. And the only top 100 on the roster is 5'7" Chris Lykes, who we saw at Miami for so long, and he really can't be out there because he's a defensive liability. That's your only top 100 at Arkansas right now, and he's their free throw specialist at the moment. That's how Musselman is using him. Just a fantastic job, and it would be fitting if Muss takes out Coach K. I think Krzyzewski would have to shake his hand and say thank you. And what the hell was that with Jim Nantz last night, trying to end Krzyzewski's career by just openly jinxing them and saying, "Hey, do you want to finish that sentence with the 8th grade on free throw?" That was so funny, and I almost never forgave him because I was on Duke. But Duke ended up not missing a shot for like the last 8 minutes, and we saw Paolo Banchero become the #1 pick on a night that maybe Chet Holmgren lost that. Although Holmgren got a bad whistle himself. But look, Holmgren got a bad whistle. Probably 2 of those 5 fouls were not merited, especially these officials should know that it's not about them. It's about the show. And probably half the audience were seeing the projected top 3 pick who's 7'2", 7'3" for the first time. And didn't get to see him because of the foul trouble, and a couple of those whistles were ridiculous. But again, even with all of that, Arkansas deserved that win, probably would have won anyway, and can certainly beat Duke if they take Banchero out of his game and maybe get Mark Williams out of foul trouble. But depth-wise, quality depth-wise, Duke has Arkansas, but Arkansas can certainly win. And Arkansas wants the game played probably in the low 70s. Duke wouldn't mind it in the 80s.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's both those games, guys, set for tomorrow, Saturday, the Elite Eight.